Hey, what's up? It's Kit. Time for another video. Today we are doing the favorite jig of Ray. And yeah, so this is kind of like the fourth installment of the Ray Chen special. And we have a Beat Potbelly. This is 160 grams. And tell you what, I have plans for this sucker right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and rig this. Now, before that, we'll talk about our hooks. Okay, so we're going to be using one of my favorites. This is the VMC 7117. This is a size 3.0. Okay, so for you guys that are wondering that, we have our split rings ready. We have our solid rings. We have our cords with the insert fluorocarbon. So let's go ahead and crack this open and start. So there's going to be 4 hooks. So you need 4 of these. Okay. And for you guys that are new to the channel, welcome. If you just joined us, this channel talks about the hows and whys of fishing. We cover everything from big game, ultralight, everything in the middle, including fly fishing. And today, we're tying assist hooks for this Beat Potbelly. Alrighty, I'm gonna bring you guys in so that you can see exactly what we're working on. As always, okay, let me just adjust this. We have this wireless microphone. And we're testing out a bunch of other things to make our audio better. So this is obviously by no means the end of everything for this. Okay, we are actually testing a lot of things out. All right, now actually, you know what? Let me change my glasses here as well. I used to do this so easy without the need of glasses and all that, but we are advancing in age, so this is one of them. All right, so I use fishing braid, okay, and this is very thin fishing braid made for edging. Okay, fishing braid, like real braid, not one of those other types of lines. So you could use them too if you want. But I found that fishing braid is actually quite strong, and I like tying with it. All right. Also, I've been tying with knives lately because it's just easier to manage with knives. Okay, let me change my knife to a better one. Actually have one here in the box that I use, and actually quite sharp. It's just that, you know, I don't like taking it out when I'm not using it because accidents happen. All right, so I have put a base on, and then as you could have seen, maybe I've spiraled out. I'll be using super glue together with this. If you get freaked out using super glue on your assist hooks and just having the assist hook being held together by glue, let me assure you that we're actually doing a friction hold, not glue. Okay, this is just to help things along, right? So this is our cord right here, and what I'll do is actually cut this flush. Okay, now very first thing I do when it comes to this is stretch it out. Okay, I want this thing as thin as possible, and then I'll mount it like so, and then I will wrap. Now when I wrap, again, guys, okay, if you're new to this channel, this is probably something new for you seeing me do this, but for the regulars, they've seen me do this quite a lot of times. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put glue on the sides. Okay. If there's still some left on this bottle, looks like there's none. All right, so we just open a new one. Now this is actually a very runny type of super glue. So just take note that this is not the thick type. Okay, this is not the thick type. And that thing's not open there. We're gonna have to cut it. Now how I cut this, actually I cut it in a diagonal. I'll show you in a bit. Okay, so as you can see there, I cut it in a diagonal. And what that does for me is it makes it very easy for me to just do that. Okay, we cover this, okay, while we're working on this. All right, so as you can see, some glue is there, and then all I do is actually, whoops. Oh, so when that happens, don't panic. It happens from time to time. Just leave it, okay? All right. It's good that it happened so that I can show you what to do. All right, so all you do is just continue to wrap, okay? Now, after a few wraps, you can then cut the line. Both lines, both tag ends. Okay, there we go. It's a very, very sharp knife. Okay. And then catch the tags while you're going back to wrapping. So you just wrap like so. Okay. That. And by doing this, and what's happening here is that we're actually tying and filling in the gaps, and what that does is actually distribute the glue. Okay, and then advance back, and then we can tie our closing or finishing knot, whether it's a whip finish or a half hitch, up to you. Okay, that's why I like the knife. As you can see, I could get in there as close as I can, and I can't do that with a pair of scissors. Now all we have to do is glue that bit. Okay, and all we're doing here is actually fusing all the strands. So from your tying braid and the cord, the insert, which is fluorocarbon, and the shank. Okay, so as you can see there, it's actually very, very clean. Okay, now test pull it, and you can see that it's on there because we're tying it really tight. Okay, and now if you don't like this sort of thing, that's fine. You know, it practice makes perfect, and I assure you, this is a legit way of tying your assist cords. Companies like Owner and VMC, Gamakatsu use this technique. Okay, there's actually an instructional from Owner that does the same thing. Just take note. You could find it. It's in the Japanese language, but you could find it. Okay, so now after this, for this particular one, what we could do is actually set this aside. Okay, because this is pretty much it for this side at least, and then we could put it to one side and make sure that it's in an area where there's no air movement. If there's some air movement, it is going to turn, the wraps are going to turn white, and you don't want that. Okay, now we're going to do the same with this. So again, we will just put a thread base. Do you need this thread base? Actually, it's a fly tying trick, right? And what it is a base so that your materials don't slide and slip. And I kind of just borrowed it from fly tying. I tie up to the point. Now, this just cuts that. Okay, now I will spiral going forward. And what that spiral does is actually kind of gives a rib. See, whenever I say something that's important, they start barking. That's how you know that what I'm saying is actually important. So basically, that rib puts a space between the cord and the thread. And that is a place where the glue can take hold and basically acts kind of like a reservoir for the glue. And that helps with this whole process. Okay, so it helps retain the glue so that it can fuse with the shank. Okay, so there, just a tad. Okay, so now with all that glue, what we need to do is push it in. And how do you do that? With the wraps. You basically wrap touching turns, and there's pressure on these wraps. Okay, and we are trying to really push those or that drop of glue inside. Okay. Now, if you have excess, don't worry, because all you do is actually spread that on top. We just had enough for this other one, but for this one, we have a bit of excess, and that's good, so that I could show you guys how to do that as well. Okay, so there, before we spread the glue, we have to cut this and make sure that it's cut flush. Okay, now we need a bodkin or a chopstick, and I use a chopstick. Okay, so here we go. Chopstick, because it's free. Okay, so everyone can get it, and it's readily available everywhere. So spread it, and if you need more, just take. Okay, again, you'll have a very nice coat. Okay, spread that. There we go. Make sure it's even. Forget the top. Make it look pretty. Okay, that is it. Now, for the sake of expedience, I'm gonna spray this with spray the other one as well. Accelerant. That way, it dries up instantly, and I can work on them for you guys. Okay, so that's how it looks like. Super clean. All right, as you can see there, dry. Like that, and then the thread base goes all the way to the bottom of that point right there, and then we spiral back. Okay, use my knife to cut the tag clean. Okay, and then be very careful with this. When I do this, take note that, again, we're stretching, okay? The reason why I zoomed out is because I want you guys to see this part right here. I take tape the hook like so, and then like that. So it's easier for me to actually manage it, and the hook point is actually pointing away. Okay, that way I have very little accidents. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, never going back. Okay, there, again, spiral out, like so, and then we glue. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom you guys in now that you've seen it. I'm gonna see if it's focused so you, okay, you guys can see. Okie dokie. Okay, now blue. Again, just the sides. So here, the sides are the most critical bit, not the top, by the way. So just take note of that. Whether you have excess or not, okay, the most important thing is that the sides have the glue, not the top or the bottom. Because when you're wrapping, you're actually forcing the glue on the sides between the cord and the base thread, the thread base. Okay, and what happens there is that it fuses. That's what fuses those things. And then again, just touching wraps, touching turns. And with this, you can actually go fast because you're not in danger basically. You know? While you're going back, make sure to hit those gaps. Okay, here we go. And then we're finishing. Alrighty, so tighten that. How I do it is I touch it with the knife and then move the thread towards the knife. Gives you a cleaner cut. Now, just a tad bit for finishing. Okay. Just needs a bit. Doesn't need a lot. And then we can set that aside, or we could zap it right now. Okay, right now I want to zap it just so we can actually put the ring. Okay, so this is the top hook. Okay. It's going to be the shorter of the two. And what I will do is put a single loop on this, like so. Tighten it, and then you can put wraps on it. to keep it from moving. Okay, so here's our pull tool. As you guys can see, I'm actually pulling hard on this thing, and it's not coming off. That's how strong these wraps are for this. So if you do it right, they're not gonna go anywhere. Okay, so we have this, and I will actually wrap. Okay. So we are going to do a couple of, or a few wraps, basically forming a PR knot of sorts here. Okay. I'm doing this so you guys can see exactly how I'm doing it. Okay. So this can be tightened like so. It's easier doing it with this type of bobbin than with others, because you can tighten it and it'll give you like really beautiful wraps. Okay, here we go. So now we do half hitch, or like how I do it is a whip knot, whip finish. Okay, here we go. Now can do the finishing touches. So just that, so that it's held. Cuts very, very close. Cuts better than hair scissors. Okay, so you can see that that thing is beautiful. Now, you need to adjust it a little bit to get it perfectly. Okay, so just do that. And both of them. Okay. Now, you might have a hard time. So this is a tip for you guys. You might have a hard time getting it in position. Okay, like this one here. This one's in better shape right here, right? So what you do is just take a lighter and then just heat it up a little bit, turn it, and it will go to where you want it. Just a little heat. You don't have to burn it. Just a little heat will do. Okay, so just like that. And then twist it in position and bang. Okay, so for you guys that are wondering how to get perfect alignment. Okay, so there we go. We can put it here. Yeah, I find this a bit too long, so we'll move it to the back. Okay. A bit too long for my liking. We're moving it at the back, which would be perfect for it. It's fine. Sometimes you can't get it perfectly on, you know, and that's fine. So, but it's perfect for the back, right there. Okay, let's put it on actually, or you can put it up front and use just this set for that. But we'll do a double. All right. The dogs are telling me like, Dad, you screwed up. Righty. So I actually put a little bit of allowance. But then, if I did this twice, it would have been perfect. Okay, so there we go. That's it right there. Now let's do the front. All right. So we want this. Okay, we want it here. Just like that. So that's our overhang. That should be it right there. You know, when you cut this, always stretch it out. Always. Always. Okay. Now, let's do this. I don't understand why the dogs are barking. There's probably some other dogs taking a walk outside. Probably why they're freaking out. Okay, so tape that, bend and tape. There we go. Easy peasy. All right. So this our thread base. You want it just underneath there. Make sure that you stretched out your cord, okay? Make sure that that's stretched out. If there's slack there, it will cause everything to fall apart. I have paid the price for that, and I don't want you guys to actually experience something that disgusting. Because you know, it is. You hook up to a good fish. Smaller stuff, it stays. You know? But as soon as you hook a big one, it's just disgusting. It's awful. You know, the feeling that you actually get when you lose a fish and you know that it's your fault because of how you did things. Disgusting. Hate it. I hate things. I hate situations where you put yourselves when you know you're kind of like you had control over it. All right, so again, this has a lot of tension. Okay, there's drag on this, and then when I tie, I actually also apply a lot of tension. Don't make the action that it looks like I'm not. Look. You see how that bends. See, because of the force. Okay, I'm actually putting this on very tight, almost to the breaking point of the braid. Actually, you saw that earlier. It broke. You know, that was too much tension on my part. Okay. Bang, just like that. Still have a bit here that we can spread. Okay. I'll put more. This bit that I'm doing here right now, it is not helping the strength. This is actually protecting the wraps. You know, ideally you use another type, the medium viscosity for that sort of job. That's fine. Because we're gonna zap it right after. Okay, so now that's dry. We can continue working. Okay, so take off You waste a lot of tape, but that's a small price to pay. I'd rather do that than bleed. Okay, now this is the tricky bit because it's pretty short. But the good thing is we're just gonna have to do it once, so that's fine. 2 times for this very difficult, quite a tall order actually. All right, so we will clip this on. I wanted this to be an offset, but too short for an offset really. That's why I decided to just make it like this. All right, so now again, I'm not pretending, guys. I'm really putting the force on that because I want that thing to be very compressed. That's not going anywhere. So for those guys that actually say that, oh, that's not going to hold, oh, trust me, it will. It really depends on how you tie it, you know. Obviously, if you don't go through the same steps that I just showed you, I'm sure there's others, but this is what I've learned that works for me. Okay, so do the bind like that. As you can see, because of the bobbin, it's very easy to do that. Okay. You don't have to use this bobbin, by the way. The type that you use for PR knots also has a drag mechanism. And they use it too. Okay, so I'm trying to get mine here. Like this one. What I don't like about it is that it doesn't really have that much capacity because it's not designed for that. Whereas this is actually designed for tying stuff. So, you know, kind of different. All right, we're just making use of our fly tying vise here to cut the tag as close as we can. And then we do the same for this, okay? You can super glue this bit too, by the way. I'm not too sure if we actually glued the other end, the other one, but we should. Okay, so as you can see there, done deal, and kind of not in position, but we can fix it. It's easy. All right, so let's super glue this so that it's done and dusted. So super gluing it again just protects the wraps. It's not going to strengthen it. Actually, what you're doing here also is that since it's thin super glue, it will penetrate the core and fuse it. So basically, what's happening here is that not only is it wrapped on top, that becomes kind of like a solid thing. All right, so let's go ahead and actually super glue this. I'm gonna clean the tip a bit. Okay. This is very cheap super glue. This is like 150 there, one dirham, 50 fils. So I'm not a fan of expensive super glue for assist hooks. I use the cheapest possible because the cheaper ones don't whiten up fast. the expensive ones, I think they have like this formulation that has a lot of the chemical. And what happens, I don't know. This is just my cyanolate. It has a lot more cyanolate than this, and or the quality of the cyanolate that they use is actually probably higher. So it reacts with moisture faster, and it whitens. It's like it turns white really fast. But with the cheaper ones, they don't. So that's why I like them. I don't know. I mean, this is just my experience. Um, the cheaper, the super glue, the less it turns white when you either zap it or you leave them in places where there's air movement, or when it gets in touch with moisture. All right, so we're just putting this on. And as always, what's going to happen is we are going to put a solid ring here for our line, and for that we're using a GP ring. Okay. There we go. Now, we can, where is that thing? Oh, we could use this. Oh, there it is. All right. Okay, there we go. That is our Beat Potbelly right there. And see, that's not gonna tangle. All right, so now I will be using this in deeper water. I will drop this down to the bottom because I like, it's kind of like a very good exploring jig. Kind of like the Deepliner Ovo. Okay, there we go. But obviously this is for a bit shallower water. That, I think the Ovo starts at around 200, 250, something like that. So shallower work, or when there's less current, this is definitely something I will use it for. Okay. I have not seen this for sale here in the dealer for Beat. But if this proves successful, I'm going to request for them to carry this. So Ray, thank you very, very much for this. All right, that concludes the Ray Chen series. Again, thank you for sending these over, Ray. There was 4 of them. I believe we rigged all 4. There's the King Slasher and the Sardine Waver, the Oroco Short, and the Beat Trigger. Alrighty. So this is what I do. After everything, I will put everything in the sleeve, and that way they don't tangle, and it's very easy to take them. Okay, so see, just like that. And then I can put them together in the box, and they're not gonna tangle. Alrighty, so just a tip for you guys out there if you have not done this yet. It's very useful. Alrighty, so yep, that is it for now. Kind of a long video, but that jig actually deserved it. It's a very beautiful jig, very easy to use, and what do you call this? The profile is easy to use. I haven't used it yet, but when I use it, you guys will know, because more than likely you're going to be with me. Alrighty, that's it for this video. I'm gonna have some coffee and relax for a little bit before actually editing this. or drink coffee while editing it, right? That's what do you call this? But yeah, I guess this is the first time that you guys have seen me use this. I have a few in the box here for I use for my what do you call this carving, and I've been using them for years, and I just thought that hey, well, by the time you see this video, you would have seen the video of me discussing about materials I use for cutting, and yeah, I mean I gravitated towards that some time ago. I just don't show it, but I've been doing that for quite a while now and using it because it's not that I don't want to. It's not that I don't want to use the box cutters because I love these. The problem is waste. I mean, the blades themselves are cheap. You could, what do you call this? You always have a very clean, very sharp edge each and every single time. The problem is they're still disposable. So I'm trying to get rid of things that are disposable, and actually use things or have things around me that I can use for a really long time and not replace them. I mean, it just makes much more sense than having things disposable. That's it. Anyway, so yeah, again, that's it for this video. If you have questions, drop them in the comment section. If you learned something, there's a more important bit here. Thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up. Give this video a thumbs up. Share this video. There's been a lot of shares in this in with the videos and everything, which is like really good because a lot of people might be needing the information that we have here. The tips. I mean, when we're doing these things, I throw tips, a lot of tips. So very, very helpful for a lot of people, obviously. And yeah, if you learned something and you haven't yet and you want to learn more, click on that subscribe button. And for those guys that want to do more for the channel, click on the join. Alrighty, that's it for now. Hope you learned something. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Class dismissed.